Why the manga stories? Is to give you an idea of some of the stories in the manga stories that's different from the series. And just to warn you guys that this is not the beginning of the series. It's not explaining the beginning of the series. But it's to tell you some of the ideas I created and figured out. And also, probably, it would make it into the series. The manga stories in the series on YouTube are not the same, as Gilbert receives Froakie in the Alola Region, and his first Pokemon was not Trico and Torchic. It was Charmander in the Kanto region. While in the series, the Home Region mini-series, Gilbert starts his travels from his home region, the Home Region. The manga stories and the series on YouTube, they're the same characters, everything, but the stories kind of planned out a little bit different. Now guys, I can give you an example of the manga stories in the Home Region. Gilbert and his family starts by moving from Siliput City to Little Root Town. Now this is when the manga stories also switch things around and turn things around. It's because of Professor Birch. Professor Birch advises Gilbert and the family to start in the Kanto region instead because he thought that Professor Oak will help Gilbert on his development, on his potential as a grown young man, since he's like the next big thing. But this was not explained in the manga story until later on. In the manga stories starts from the Kanto region, and this is where situations, new different situations happens to Gilbert, and he managed to get Charmander, Pikachu, Pidgey, Mankey, some of the Pokemon that you have seen in the Kanto Redux. Is something also linked, is that Gilbert catches the same Pokemon that you see in the Kanto region Redux. But it doesn't really explain that Gilbert is from the Home region until later on in the manga stories. While you're in the actual series, Gilbert and the family just moved from Siliput City to Little Root Town, and then after that, Professor Birch was reluctant to give Gilbert a starter Pokemon because Professor Birch already knew about his potential. Everybody knew about Gilbert's potential, especially what I said about the manga stories and the series on YouTube. Some things are linked. Professor Birch, the mom, the dad, people around the Home region knew of something big happening in Siliput School, especially Gilbert's friends. When they all first met in school, they knew about Gilbert's potential. If you watch the first episode, Professor Birch heard about Gilbert's big thing, about what he did in Siliput School, what he did in those test battles, those training battles, the exams and everything. The mom said that Gilbert managed just to put the bar so far up, but somehow he managed to get it. The dad mentioned a few things that, look, son, you can do it. Do it for me, do it for the family, do it for your friends. The friends knew it. You remember the battle when Gilbert was nervous because everything all seemed so real now. And Professor Birch gave him a Trico, and then when the friends urging him, encouraging him, like, Gilbert, get out of this nervousness, you can do it. You showed us this in Siliput School. What's going on with you? Gilbert's like, I don't know what's going on. It's like that. And then after that, the friend like, Gilbert, do it, and then it just snaps. It just absolutely just snaps. And then Gilbert, this burning fire within Gilbert just snaps. Bring that Gilbert back here from the school, and manages to beat those Ponchianas that were that were troubling our heroes in Route 101, if I'm correct. Now we're gonna go back a bit from the last manga story episode. I explained to one of my favorite episodes in the manga stories Alola Region version. We're gonna start with this episode, then going straight off of this. You can see that this one is highlighted because it's gonna bring you some of the some of the cliffhanger that we'll bring onto this episode. Now, in this episode, it's called the Z Move Experiment, but in Japan, I kind of made like obviously a Japanese title. As I said, I kind of did this way back in 2017. You can see right there that I've made it Gilbert versus Grand Kahana Captain Hala, the Melemele Island Challenge, and obviously the English one is called the Z Move Experiment. Now, in this episode of the Manga stories, it says that when Team Skull tries to ruin the challenge at the end, but Gilbert and friends stop them when Gilbert wins the battle, and since then the masked people have been trying to get Gilbert and friends. Now, the masked people are actually from the Hefe Foundation, if I've mentioned that correct. So at this moment in time, Team Skull were trying to ruin the trial that Gilbert was in previously in the previous Manga story episodes. Hopefully, in the future, I'll be able to explain those episodes to you. But that's what's happening at the moment. Team Skull was trying to ruin that challenge, but luckily Gilbert and friends managed to stop them, and Gilbert managed to win the battle. And since then, the masked people have been trying to get Gilbert and friends ever since. But right now, Gilbert and friends at this moment in time are now in that town where right now Gilbert will be facing Hala, for the Grand Trial Challenge. Now, I've made this kind of short here, so then that way we can go straight into one of my favorite episodes. But let's just explain of what's going on, because this here will give you a little bit of an idea of why I've highlighted this, and also why this part is important to this episode right here in the Manga stories. Now let's just get right into it. Now, it says that Hala used Mankey, Harahama, and Crow Brawler, if that's how you pronounce it, while Gilbert used Froakie, Pecky Peck, and Rowlet. Obviously, like as I said, the episode is called the Z Move Experiment, and Hala used the Z Move against Froakie. So I think Gilbert used Froakie as a lost Pokemon, like Ash in the series where he used Pikachu as a lost Pokemon against Hala. And Gilbert, and then after that, I think Gilbert managed to also unleash the Z move, and also against Hala's Hariyama, and obviously Gilbert wins, and he gets the Fighting Z Crystal or Vitamin Z Crystal. But Tapu Koko changed the crystal into a Froakie Z. Now this Froakie Z or Froakie Z crystal is a crystal that I made specifically for the series. So then that way, because of the new created moves that I made for Froakie, this Froakie Z or Z crystal, you were able to unleash those new created moves I made for Froakie. Like for example, what I mean, like if you have the Waternem Z crystal, if you have like water gun or hydro pump, I think you get hydro voltics, I think if I'm correct. So exactly like this one, Froakie Z were able to unleash some of the new and creative moves I made for Froakie. And then also Hala says to Gilbert that this is the first time that Tapu Koko has taken such an interest on such a trainer like Gilbert. Now this is when the big thing comes in. Now while in the Heather Foundation about looking for Brad. Now Brad was in disguise. Now this is when Brad and Gladion, in both in disguise, see Gladion, if I mentioned that correct, if that's the boy's name, if I mentioned that correct. Anyway, apologies if I've mentioned that wrong. Anyways, they're both in disguise and they have a quick battle, a quick tremendous battle, which it ended up in the draw. But in a meanwhile, the Ether Foundation are also trying to get Gilbert. Now this is what I was talking about, like the masked people are trying to get Gilbert and friends. Now this is what I'm talking about. The Ether Foundation are also trying to get Gilbert, in which Brad knew about that, and he tried to divert them to make sure that the masked people from the Ether Foundation does not get Gilbert and our heroes. I'm pretty much sure that in this part, Brad's ego as the wind Pokemon legend, and also the wind the prince of the wind legend people, and also the the warrior race of the wind warrior race. I'm thinking that Igomov came in and said there is no way that they're going to get Gilbert, so instead he wants the masked people to get him, and that's why he tries to divert. So it's not only on trying to help Gilbert, but he's also trying to do it on his own ego. Now this is when the big thing comes in. Now the reason why that I also mentioned about Gladion, because now Gladion is about to make his full appearance. Right there. Now, this episode is called Not Glad to Face Up, Gladion's charismatic look of Lycanroc, if that's how you pronounce the Pokemon's name. Now, obviously, that is just Japanese title right there that I made here for this episode. Obviously, as I said, I kind of written this episode way back 2 years ago. Exactly like this episode when I written this one way back. That was like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, you know. Anyways. Now this is what I'm talking about. Now the reason why that this is done is also because, as I said, Gladion now makes his full appearance. Now, after it was mentioned that Brad had a battle with Gladion and Drew, the next day there was some commotion somewhere near Lily. So Lily is also mentioned in this episode. Lily's house, about some powerful Pokemon trainer around, and the friends, you know, our heroes, went to see what is up. And then Lily knew who it was, so they went there and saw that she mentioned that actually it is his brother Gladion, which shocks our heroes. So Lily and her butler wanted to know where he has been, but Gladion didn't want to talk about it and to talk to them. And Gladion noticed Gilbert and also teases the girls of the group, which Gilbert didn't tolerate. And both of them settle it in a battle in which everyone, including Lily, didn't want Gilbert to do, but it went on. So Gladion uses his Lycanroc, the midnight form, exactly like in the Alola Region series, Acid series, the midnight form, and then the Rotom Dex tells Gilbert that this is Rockruff's evolution, in which Gilbert uses his Rockruff, in which Gladion wasn't happy about that because he knows how powerful Gilbert is in general. And then the battle started. Obviously, Lycanroc midnight form does Stone Edge, and also Gilbert commands Rockruff to dodge it and to tell Rockruff to do bite. But Lycanroc midnight form dodges it with ease and knocks Rockruff out of his tracks with Rock Throw. And then after that, Lycanroc does bite and defeats it with Stone Edge, in which Rockruff fainted and couldn't believe it. Now you can just see right there how powerful Gladion's Lycanroc, if that's how you pronounce the Pokemon's name. You can see how powerful the Pokemon really is by just defeating Gilbert's Rockruff just like that. But I'm thinking in this episode right here, this episode in this manga stories, is that I think that Gilbert just caught Rockruff. So it was like as if Gilbert was kind of like, let's say, not only testing Lycanroc, but also testing Rockruff's strengths. You know what I mean? But like here, Gilbert was not surprised. Look at that. Gilbert was not surprised. So Gladion walked off while Lily's butler was trying to reason with him, was trying to talk to him. At the Pokemon Center, Rockruff was in care, and Gilbert said that he wants to talk with Lily, who went home upset before the battle, and Gilbert leaves his friend back at the Pokemon Center to take care of Rockruff. Now, I think right here, obviously Lily didn't like what happened when Gilbert and Gladion obviously battled, and also Gilbert leaves his friends at the Pokemon Center, to take care of Rockruff while Gilbert goes to see Lily. Now, when Gilbert was at Lily's place, the butler was on his way there, and Butler recognized Gilbert, and Gilbert tells him that he's here to talk with Lily, which he takes him there because he was going there anyway. So at the house, right there at the house, the butler brings Gilbert to Lily's room, in which he tells Lily, that Gilbert is here. The next scene shows Gilbert and Lily at the living room talking about her past with Gladion and her mother, in which Gilbert remembers a lady similar to Lily's mother called Jezebel. You are going to see Jezebel, hopefully you see Jezebel in the actual series. in the actual series. Hopefully you were able to see Jezebel. Anyways, while she was talking, Gilbert had an impression that Gladion was a little shocked when he saw her with a very own Vulpix, the Alola, or the Lolian, let's say the Lolian Vulpix. After, Lily tells Gilbert about their past. Gilbert wanted to know if she and the butler know where he went. I think because, I think Gilbert now understands about Lily's past. So then he's like, you know what? I want to know where this boy is. I want to know where Gladion is now. But Lily didn't want to do it. But the butler has some lead in which he tells Gilbert. Now Gilbert goes back to the Pokemon Center to see Mary and the gang and to see if Rockruff, was alright and taken care of. Gilbert also tells our heroes that he's going to battle Gladion again for what he has done, in which Gilbert was so psyched about the battle. If you've seen the series, you know how Gilbert is when it comes to battling. Gilbert likes a challenge. But once again, our heroes think that it was a bad idea. But Gilbert said that this is a big one right here. Gilbert said that he is not only doing this here for what he has done, and also the progress here of his Alola Region Pokemon, but he's doing this. He's doing this for Lily. Look, but he's going to pay for what he's done to us and Lily. You see it right there. So exactly what I said about Gilbert learning about the past about Lily. Gilbert had an impression about Gladion, was shocked about how Lily has her now is touching a Pokemon. So Gilbert's saying that, look, I want to know where this guy is, and he's gonna pay for what he's done to us and Lily. So Gilbert said for the first time in a while that he's looking for revenge. You know what I mean? Gilbert doesn't look for revenge yet unless it's really important. You know Gilbert's not that dense. He's a very intelligent guy. Very intelligent young man, I tell you that. There's one there. Anyways, Gilbert goes out to look for him with the butler's lead, and Daya, Mary, Lily, and Boo are looking for Gilbert. So I think in this part, Lily, it's not explained yet, but I explain it right now that I think as Gilbert is leaving, I think the friends bump into Lily as Lily knew that Gilbert was going to face Gladion. I think Lily also wanted to talk to Gladion as well. So anyway, forgive me if I've mentioned Lily's brother's name wrong and Lycanroc, the name, the Pokemon name wrong. Forgive me for that. Anyways, so Lily is also with our heroes following Gilbert. So Lily's also following Gilbert. Lily wants to know what's going on with Gladion and wants to talk to Gladion herself. Gilbert couldn't find Gladion, but when Gilbert went on a little further on some rocky places, he found him. And Gladion wanted to know what he's doing here. And Gilbert says, you know why I'm here. Because of my friends and Lily. But Gladion accepts because he knows, exactly like the first small battle in the beginning, Gladion knows Gilbert is powerful. And don't forget that he was disappointed when Gilbert used Rockruff, a Pokemon that Gilbert recently caught from, prior to this episode. So Gladion accepts because he knows Gilbert is powerful and wants to battle Gilbert again. So Gladion once again brings out Lycanroc, the midnight form version, and Gilbert uses Litten, in which Gladion again wasn't impressed. He was not happy. Gilbert used Litten. Now there's a reason why Gilbert started to use Litten. Because Gilbert wanted to make sure something is right here. Gilbert brought out Litten because for an insight of the speed of Lycanroc, and tells Litten to use Flame Charge. See, Flame Charge, everybody knows Flame Charge. If the Pokemon hits the opponent with Flame Charge, the speed grows. So, see, so for speed, you know what I'm saying? So now Gilbert tells Litten to use Flame Charge to pick up speed, and then Lycan Rock, Midnight Form to use Stone Edge, Rock Throw, Bite to Litten. Now, this is consecutively with when Litten dodges the Stone Edge and Gilbert uses Flame Charge, Fire Fan respectively. So it's like a bang on bang match. But you can just see that Litten is not doing any damage because it's a rock type. But as I said, there's a reason why Gilbert brought out Litten first. Even though Litten was fast, because the Flame Charge did hit Lycan Rock, the Midnight Form, to make sure that Litten doesn't get hit by Lycan Rock's powerful moves. So at this moment in time, Lycan Rock's Midnight Form is already fast. Gilbert tried to do something, but then Lycan Rock, Gladion defeats Litten, in which Gilbert says to Litten, "Thank you very much," and Litten put on a great fight. Obviously, Litten licks Gilbert as an affection. That is brilliant right there. When Gilbert said to him that he was brilliant out there. You are getting closer at being so powerful. So Gilbert's trying to encourage, you know what I mean? Gilbert's always trying to encourage his Pokemon every time, they didn't win or they weren't impressed. But Gilbert always said that you did a fantastic job. Now this is it now. Gilbert said to himself that he has an insight of Lycan Rock's speed. Now the real battle starts. Now this is when Gilbert now bring out Froakie, in which Froakie was sight like Gilbert. Don't forget guys that Gilbert's Froakie in the Manga stories Froakie is not in its Pokeball. No, Froakie is out like Ash's Pikachu. So what I mean by saying that Froakie is coming out, I mean that Froakie was next to Gilbert. Froakie next to Gilbert in the battle. In the battle place, and then Froakie jumps into battle. So exactly right here that Gilbert uses Froakie, in which Froakie was sight like Gilbert as he nods to Gilbert, both smiling at each other, and then there we go. He jumps and Froakie jumps into battle. Now Froakie and Lycan Rock, the Midnight Form, put a neck and neck fight. So it's like a full on battle right there. And Froakie uses Aqua Jet, in which Gladion saw how amazing the Aqua Jet was, and showing a smile, in which he said that this is the Gilbert I'm talking about. So Froakie goes on like an Aqua Jet so fast, like Froakie, like that, so fast. And then Lycan Rock, the Midnight Form, does Rock Throw, in which Froakie uses Water Shogun to counter it. And Gladion says he has never seen a Froakie like this before, and this Froakie is the Froakie from his last travels and can't wait for the rest of the battle. So Froakie does. So then, as Lycan Rock is doing Rock Throw, Froakie does Ice, Ice Water Shogun. Don't forget, guys, that Gilbert's Water Shogun is Ice Water Shogun. Now this is now, if I didn't explain it in the previous manga story video, I'll explain it now. That the Water Shogun is one of Gilbert's created moves, or Gilbert moves, that he taught Froakie, specifically to Froakie. Tried to get the best out of Froakie, So a move is called Ice Water Shogun. Don't forget, guys, that also Froakie does not know Aqua Jet, but Gilbert did teach Froakie, an improvised Aqua Jet move, which also increases Froakie's speed stats in battle. So I just want to throw that out there. And also, the Ice Water Shogun also increases Froakie's speed, special attack, and also its attack. So as the battle goes on, Froakie just gets faster and more powerful. That's why when Gladion sees this, he's like, he's never seen a Froakie like this before. So Froakie does Ice Water Shogun like that, just keep on throwing Ice Water Shogun, just keep on throwing Shoguns. And then after that, what happened is that Gilbert tried to make sure that Froakie is faster than Litten, because we all know that Litten was defeated, even though Lycanroc was so fast. So again, he won't get hit by Lycanroc's powerful attack, but Froakie's attacks was also super effective. So Gilbert knew that Lycanroc, Gladion's Lycanroc here is very, very powerful. And as I said before, that he got rid of Rockruff and Litten, and now it might just be Froakie. So Gilbert had to watch out. Froakie was getting beaten down by a powerful attack. Like, Froakie, and then after that, what happened is that the Froakie just kept on getting up through Gilbert's determination of not giving up. And Gilbert's like, Froakie, don't give up. And then Froakie's like, Froakie, like just getting up, just like so determined to make sure that this battle, does not go back in disappointment. You know what I mean? So Froakie does Hydro Pump, jumps in the air like and then Froakie just do a Hydro Pump. Now, so Froakie does Hydro Pump here on the ground, and then because of Froakie's lightweight, Froakie's able to do Hydro Pump on the ground, and then that way Froakie is able to fly up in the air, and as Froakie does a Water Shogun. Now this one's called an Ice Water Shogun. So then Froakie now uses the Water Shogun on his hand to ride in the air. One of the tactics that Gilbert also was teaching Froakie. And then when Lycanroc Midnight Foam does an attack, Froakie was able to throw the Shogun he had on his hand to counter it. At one point, Lycanroc Midnight Foam does Rock Throw, in which Froakie managed to grab onto one of them with Iron Pound. Now, Iron Pound is also another move I created here for Froakie. Now, it's something similar to let's say the improvised pound variation, where Gilbert teaches Trico and also pound. I think Froakie knows pound in the actual games in the series, but Gilbert taught Froakie a really, really special move specifically for him, similar to Iron Tail, that's called Iron Pound. So then it's like a little bit like if you see Greninja in X and Y series, obviously, or the Ash series, like the Greninja's hand glows and his feet glows. So exactly the same thing, only that is Iron Pound. Just imagine Error Ace, but then when Froakie punches the Pokemon or kicks the Pokemon, it's like a steel type move. So that's why that when Lycanroc does Rock Throw, Froakie is able to grab hold of some of the rock with Iron Pound with his hand. And then after that, Froakie gets hit by the rest of the throw. Froakie was down, so Froakie managed to grab hold of them like and then after that, the rock throw just keep on hitting him. So Froakie just falls on the floor. And then Froakie was down. Gilbert wanted Froakie to get one more time for him. One more time. Like, Froakie, come on, get up. Do it for me. Like that. And then Froakie gets up with sheer determination. Gladion couldn't believe Froakie's endurance and determination. He couldn't believe that Froakie like this, so small, can able to handle such powerful attacks. Especially that rock throw. And then Froakie again does, Gilbert's improvised Aqua Jet to get there. So Froakie like that, and then after that, Lycanroc does Stone Edge, in which Froakie, because Froakie is now fast now, so he's able to dodge it quickly. You see, dodge it quick, and then Froakie does Hydro Pump. At this time, Gilbert and Gladion was trying to get into positions around the rocks in the battlefield to get a better view of the battle. So Gilbert again, Gilbert is getting up to one of the like Froakie, Hydro Pump, like that, and then Froakie's like and does Hydro Pump. So and then Gladion's also doing the same thing, trying to get better view of the battlefield and trying to attack Froakie at the same time. And then in another thing, you can see that Froakie again dodges one of Lycanroc's moves, but still gets hit, which causes an explosion, a huge explosion. Froakie then comes out through the smoke in which Gladion uses Lycanroc's midnight form to trick Froakie and do Stone Edge and bite through the smoke. And then other Gilbert said it's time to get into our boxing tactics. Now, this boxing tactics, to be honest, I think what's happening is that Gilbert is trying to let Froakie get into some kind of rhythm. Get into some kind of, it could be jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? It could be karate. It could be just actual boxing. Just just jogging. Just get into the rhythm to make sure that that Froakie, that they get pumped up. That they're getting really on it for the battle. And you see right there that so Gilbert and Froakie can get into their rhythm. Now Lycanroc midnight form was very fast, but Froakie was even faster, getting closer to Aqua Jet. You see that with Aqua Jet. See, Aqua Jet, again and again and again, Froakie's getting faster and getting stronger. Obviously, getting stronger with the Ice Water Shogun. Now, Froakie does Lycanroc's midnight from rock throw attack in close distance. And then with their rhythm, Froakie uses, with the Ice Water Shogun, combine it with the Iron Pound in both arms and hands. So, at this moment in time, your Froakie punches Lycanroc with his right fists with the Ice Water Shogun. So the Ice Water Shogun with the Iron Pound. So you can imagine, don't forget guys that the Ice Water Shogun, I've got to say this, the Ice Water Shogun is a dual type move. So it's both ice and water move. So you can say that it's even more powerful than a normal water Shogun. Just to put that out there right now. And then after that, as Froakie punches Lycanroc with the Iron Pound with the Ice Water Shogun, Lycanroc blocks it with his left arm in the Stone Edge. But what happened is that with the Ice Water Shogun and the punch, the Ice Water Shogun, because don't forget that the Ice Water Shogun movie is also an ice type also, it freezes Lycanroc's left arm. That's the arm that he blocked with and he got frozen, which Gladion was shocked and says that Gilbert's Froakie's Water Shogun is also an ice type move. You see? It's because in this episode, Gilbert was saying to Froakie, Water Shogun. He wasn't saying Ice Water Shogun. He was saying Water Shogun to kind of trick Gladion. And don't forget that Froakie does not learn Aqua Jet, Iron Tail or Iron Panel or any steel move, I think, or even learn Water Shogun. But Gilbert's Froakie's Water Shogun or Ice Water Shogun is really, really cool. Froakie actually takes his Frobble, and then his Frobble glows and turns into a powerful Shogun. So you could just imagine that, like, he takes a Frobble on his hands, and then it just changes into a Shogun. Then he throws it. So just have that, in your head. And then, okay, let me just get right to this. Okay, so Gladion was shocked, and then said, and the number says that Gilbert's Froakie Water Shogun is also an ice type move. See, so then as I said, look right here, the actual name for Gilbert here was Ice Water Shogun, right there. This is why it's one of my favorite episodes, because this battle was so bang on point. But anyways, and then after that, what happened is that Gladion says that this Froakie is also a special Froakie, because which Froakie will learn Water Shogun? Only Greninja does that. Only Greninja does that. But he didn't give a damn. You know how Gladion is. He doesn't give a damn. And then Gilbert tells Froakie, while getting on the ledge to get a better view again, to punch Lycanroc with his left hand. Don't forget, guys, that Froakie did punch Lycanroc with his right hand. Now he's doing it here with his left hand. But this one is without the Iron Pound. I think it's because it's with the Ice Water Shogun. While Lycanroc was open, because don't forget that the left arm is also frozen. And then Froakie punched Lycanroc with speed. And don't forget, guys, because Ice Water Shogun is also a dual type move, ice and water, it causes a huge splash of water from the attack, in which Gladion was shocked. And then Gilbert tells Froakie to do Aqua Jet one more time to finish it. So Froakie, so after the punch, it causes let's just say that it causes a massive splash of water. Froakie jumps away, so Froakie is now back here to where Gilbert is, and then Gilbert says again, Froakie, finish it with Aqua Jet. And then after that, Froakie's like, Frah! Does the Aqua Jet. And then after that, it causes a huge explosion when the Aqua Jet hits Lycanroc. Mary, Daya, Boo, and Lily from afar were also shocked off the power. After the explosion, they also caught up as well, because obviously they're short of the power. So let's just point that out right there. So after the explosion, you see Froakie tired, but Lycanroc was still standing. Now this is how powerful Lycanroc is, but he was shaking from the attack, because don't forget that Aqua Jet and Ice Water Shogun are super effective. And then through the smoke from where Gladion was, you can see some kind of mysterious power in which Gilbert knew it was Gladion using his Z-Ring. And then Gilbert also uses his Z-Ring. Now in this battle, Gilbert was trying to prevent himself from using the Z-Ring anyway. Gilbert didn't want to use the Z-Ring, but because Gladion was using the Z-Ring, Gilbert also said, you know what, I'm going to use the Z-Ring. And then after that, Gilbert and Froakie apply the Z-Ring, and then they also apply the new Froakie Z, exactly like what I said in the previous episode. This is why I also wanted to also explain this episode in the beginning, as well as why Gladion is right here. It's because of the new Hydro Shogun for the first time, and Gladion applied the Continental Crush. Then they both applied their attacks, and it caused a huge explosion in which our heroes were screaming for Gilbert. Now, Hydro Shogun is applied here with Hydro Pump, the improvised Aqua Jet, and also Gilbert's Ice Water Shogun. So you can imagine, so then the Z-Ring powers up Froakie. Froakie does Hydro Pump, so that way it brings up the power off the ice, off the Aqua Jet. Froakie jumps up, so powerful, and then after that, Froakie is able to bring out some gigantic Shoguns, and start throwing them with just speed, and just so much speed, and then all of a sudden, the last one was also a huge one. Like you know what I mean. Like for example, so Froakie jumps up like Froakie on the in the sky with Hydro Pump and the Aqua Jet, and then he managed the Z move. Also give him the power to kind of get all of these the Frobbles for the Ice Water Shogun. Keep on throwing it, bang 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 bang, keep on just hitting. Obviously the Continental Crush also hits at the same time, and also what happened is that Froakie again for the finale uses a gigantic Ice Water Shogun and throws it to Lycanroc. And also don't forget that Lycanroc also used the Continental Crash, and they both applied it, and it causes a huge explosion in which our hero was screaming for Gilbert. So forgive me guys if I didn't explain that properly. So let me say it again, that Froakie jumps up here with the power of Hydro Pump and Aqua Jet. Froakie's in the air. Froakie's powered up here by the Z move, the Froakie Z or Z. And then after that, he's able to produce massive Shoguns of ice and water, throws it, and obviously for the finale, he has a huge Shogun, throws it, and it causes a huge explosion. And then from there, Lycanroc made up from fainted because of the super effective move from Froakie, and Froakie fainted because he was tired and the power from the Lycanroc's and obviously Z move attack. After the explosion, both Pokemon were out, and the friends went down to see Gilbert. Obviously, guys, it's a rocky place, so I think they're above, and I think the battle is just below. So Gladion went up with his Pokemon to talk to Gilbert. Gilbert went to Froakie and said that he put on one of the best fights ever. It was a brilliant fight in which they hug. He also brought Litten out while injured to hug Litten to also congratulate them on the match and said both put a brilliant battle. Gladion came up to Gilbert and said that he knew Gilbert was extremely powerful. That's why he wanted to rematch him in the first place, because he didn't like, and don't forget that he didn't like the battle earlier with his Rockruff. And don't forget that he also said that his Rockruff didn't count and wasn't the real Gilbert. Gilbert also says, then why do that to Lily? And Gladion didn't want to talk about it. But he says that he knows about Gilbert, he knows about him, and that because of him, his Froakie is also involved in the TOU crisis. Look at that, TOU crisis, which also shocks Gilbert. Gilbert's like, what, he knows about the crisis? Gladion knows how strong Gilbert is, and knew that when Froakie was introduced in that battle, things were going down, fam. You know what I'm saying? But, things were going to go down in that battle. Gladion knew that as soon as Froakie came out and said that this has been the battle starts. It's like when Gilbert said that this has been the real battle starts. So, right there, Gladion really admires Gilbert, but he won't take Gilbert lightly in battles in which Gilbert and Gladion shakes hands and he departs. Our friends appear and Lily wanted to know why he went and that he left, leaving Lily angry about that. Ari Hewitt explained they saw the whole thing and that Gilbert mentioned that Gladion knew he was powerful and wanted to battle him anyway, and knew that the battle with Rockruff was not the real him. So Gladion knew that battle earlier with Rockruff wasn't the real him, but using Froakie was something that he wanted from him. Don't forget that Gladion did say that this Froakie was the Froakie that he got in the Alola region. So he know how powerful Froakie is. It's a special Froakie. And Froakie just wins battle, from out of the odds. It's like Gilbert's Trico. You know what I'm saying? Gilbert also mentions that Gladion also know about the TOU crisis in which baffles our heroes, and wondered how he knew unless he heard it from Brad. Then Mary picks up Litten, and G says that they have to check out Rockruff, in which they leave to see Rockruff. Now this one is right, because don't forget that, as I said in the previous, okay, let me just do this so I won't confuse you guys. Don't forget that in this episode, this is why I did this. It's because Brad mentioned something, and Gladion heard it. Gladion heard something from Brad and knew that this whole thing that we are seeing right now, this whole thing, including, with in the foundation, the TOU region, because the TOU region is in the manga stories. In the manga stories, it's the TOU region, then Carlos, then Alola. So, don't forget, so the TOU region here has been going on here for the next two regions now. So that's how big the stakes are, with Gilbert and our heroes. That's why our heroes were shocked and said, what, Gladion knows about it? And that's why, unless you heard it from Brad, because Brad is the only person that's not with our heroes at the moment. That's why our heroes were saying, no, surely Brad might have told him, because who would? Anyways, and also, guys, to get Froakie and Litten healed at the center. At the end, Brad is near. So Brad saw the battle, guys. Brad saw this big, massive battle that Gilbert had with Gladion. But he says that he sees that the people who are linked with the Inter Foundation are around scheming, trying to get Gilbert. See, Brad is near because he tried to divert. Don't forget, he tried to divert, but also he's diverting for himself, not because of our heroes. Don't forget about that, guys. So the people who are linked with from the Ether Foundation are around scheming, trying to get Gilbert, and Brad, as usual, is trying to avoid let's say it this way, like trying to make sure that the people who are linked with the Inner Foundation doesn't get Gilbert. But once he saw what happened to Gilbert, he realized that Gladion was around. So Brad, so I think probably Brad didn't see the battle, but I think Brad saw what Gilbert and our heroes said about the battle, said about how powerful, said how powerful Gilbert was when what Gladion said, and also when Gladion said about the crisis. We have only scraped the surface with these fantastic episodes, as some of these episodes will dig deeper onto how Gilbert won the Z crystals in the Alola region. As I said in the beginning, because the manga stories in this series are different from how the stories plan out, but Gilbert does catch the same Pokemon, the way Gilbert gets or wins the Z crystal in the trials might be different. Please do smash a like in this video, and don't forget to subscribe if you are new, and put your notification bell on for more content coming up, because we are all looking forward. Look, I wish we can make another separate series, so then that way it'd be easy for you guys at home, or wherever you were, to understand what's going on in the manga stories, instead of me just explaining things right here. We all wish we had more people in this small team to help us with that, to make a separate animation series for the manga stories. But that also goes down to the movies we also had planned. We could have made plenty of GPA movies right about now, but can we do it? Can I do it to when I have the final edit for the series? I don't know, but I hope in the future we'll be able to do that. That's why I do this and explain as much as I can in the manga story explain videos. You don't know how many movies we have planned, and the movies that we have thought that we could put closer to the official Pokemon movies, like Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. We wish we can do that at this moment in time, but we haven't got that many people to do that, and I'm the only person who does the final edit of Gilbert's Pokemon Adventures. But let's just see what will happen in the future, and let's hope for the future for the team of Uthtube. Thank you again for your patience, love, overwhelming and continued support, guys. Take care of yourself, bless, peace, and I speak to you next time.